Hunger Games has found a second life with the success of Snakes and Songbirds. And if we're going in the direction of most other reboots, we'd be looking at a series to really dive into every detail out of those books. So I've been looking at who can play those roles we love. I've already tackled the main three with the love triangle, but now it's time to look at some others today. Some of the favorites from the series. Today we're going to cast Effie, Haymitch, Cesar, and President Snow. So let's recast Hunger Games for today. But before we get started, I'd like to thank today's sponsor, Surfshark. Now, Surfshark is a VPN that allows you to protect your data from it being breached online, which is great. But honestly, I mainly use it to change my IP address to appear like I'm from different countries so I can watch movies online for free. Like for example, if I was going to watch Hunger Games in the country I live in, Canada, it's not available anywhere. But if I change my IP address to Spain, I have 4 Hunger Games sitting there waiting for me to watch. But beyond just watching movies for free online, it helps secure your personal information, especially when you're using things like public Wi-Fi, which really can be a goldmine for hackers. Surfshark does not monitor, track, or store anything you do online, so you can surf in peace. Right now with promo code BrianSeeker, you can get an extra 3 months free if you sign up. And Surfshark offers a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's no risk to trying it out right now. Check out the link in the description below for more details. As for the casting, it makes sense to start with Effie Trinket. I mean, the whole series kind of starts with her picking that name. She is really at the core of much of the series. Her emotional growth and her character growth perfectly mimics the story at hand. She's always cheery, and although at the beginning she seems a little dim-witted, she has a lot of guidance to provide for both Katniss and Peeta. I love that she seems a little bit annoying at the beginning of the series, but by the second book, she seems endearing. She's one of those characters you learn to love and really understand. I also love that she just has so much energy and just really won't quit. She never loses her spirit throughout the entire series. It's obviously worth noting that Elizabeth Banks knocks us out of the park. She might be one of the best castings of all time. It's a really difficult task to even come up to that, let alone surpass that. Now you could go with the typical choices here like Margot Robbie, who's shown that she can go big and have fun things like Barbie or Harley Quinn, or you can go with an actress like Lady Gaga, who of course we've seen wear ridiculous things in the past, so it kind of feels in that same vein, but I found those choices a little bit uninteresting. That's who you'd expect to play this character. That's why I ended up landing on Juno Temple, who at first glance seems a little weird for this role, but if you look at her turn in Ted Lasso as Keeley, you can see that ball of light, that optimistic nature with that a little bit of emotional damage peeking through. It perfectly mimics Effie.
I got you something. I love some things.
Sense and Sensibility. Oh, I love this book.
I love the movie more, though. Wait, is this like a first edition or something?
Keeley, you go, girl. Jane Austen.
She's an atypical choice here, but I think she fits like a glove. So Juno Temple as Effie Trinket. Next up, let's tackle Haymitch. Now, I love his disdain for everything, specifically in the beginning of the book, and his rough nature, which really shows the past that he battles with. Of course, he's an alcoholic, and he should look worn down by those ways. As much as I love Woody Harrelson in the role, and it's hard to see anyone else here, it's important to note that he's nothing like the book describes. He's supposed to have a darker complexion and really dark hair. Now, there are a lot of actors who could really nail this. People like Pedro Pascal, that I think works great, as we've seen him in The Last of Us. But I tried to go atypical again, because I think there's an actor who would really nail this out of the park. That man is Norman Reedus, who I think is a really interesting choice here. He seems like he's been put through the ringer and his face is worn from that drunken state, but also can show that not giving a shit attitude that we've known and love out of Haymitch. We've seen him do similar things in The Walking Dead, that cold exterior, but I also think he can turn it on, of course towards the end of the series, and really show him in a light where he's trying to pull it together.
Get off me. I ain't gonna get off you, little brother, because you're gonna end up dead. You haven't seen the same me and Mike is saying. Huh? Mike is pissed. But Mike's still Mike. These other two, Marcus and Franco, hey, do we gotta worry about that?
He's a really interesting actor, and I think he needs more roles, and I think he'd be really, really interesting to see as Haymitch. So Norman Reedus as Haymitch. Next up, let's do Ceaser Flickerman, who might just be my favorite character in the entire series. He has this way about him that he's giving one of the biggest performances, but also has that sweetheart nature that just seems so sincere. Now, I'm not sure if he actually feels for any of the people he's talking to, but he does an amazing job not only selling it to the audience on screen, but the audience watching as well. Now, this is a hard ask for an actor, being over the top, but bringing a heart, but also making it believable. I went with an actor very similar to Stanley Tucci, who's a dynamic actor, who has a lot of experience, and you know you can put this weight on their shoulders. That's why I chose Michael Sheen, who of course has been in some notable franchises up to this point, but there's this way about him that he can really go big but keep it grounded. But most importantly, he has this unexplained sincerity to him. I believe him as being the last face that people see and confide with before he sends them off to their death.
Say you could snap your fingers and be wherever you wanted to be. I bet you'd still feel this way, not in the right place. Point is, you can't get so hung up on where you'd rather be that you forget how to make the most of where you are.
What are you telling me?
Take a break from worrying about what you can't control. Live a little.
So Michael Sheen as Ceaser Flickerman. Lastly, we have President Snow. Now, of course, President Snow had a prequel series where mainly the audience just thirsted over him. Now, if we want to stick to that, it's important we cast an actor who looks and also acts like they could be an older version of that character. Donald Sutherland, who obviously had the role before, always seemed to downplay his performance in my opinion. In a very big movie, his personality just gets a little bit lost. I want someone who has that vindictive nature, that unsettling look that he can shoot your way, and someone who just you can feel off screen. In my mind, there's no one better at this than Jeremy Irons. I buy into him being an older version of Snow from Snakes and Songbirds, both in looks and personality, but more importantly, he does more. He isn't afraid to go bigger. I think he could sell this character in his dominance. Watching him in things like Watchmen or even Justice League, he has a commanding voice that needs to be seen. I could easily see him as the ruler of Panem.
My plans for a great future ignored. I once asked you, John, whether it was all worth it in the end. You avoided answering by saying nothing ever ends.
So Jeremy Irons as President Snow. So there are 4 more characters from Hunger Games. Who do you want me to tackle next? Maybe go to Finnick or other people who were in the Hunger Games along with Katniss? Let me know in the comments below. Also, thank you to Surfshark who sponsored the video. Check out the description below for that 3 months free. As always though, thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe and I'll see you in the next video.